Are you in or out? Are you bang on trend or out of fashion? Are you up to the minute or behind the times? Life is full of exclusive clubs. We discriminate by age or gender or race or wealth or strength or intelligence or looks or taste. We can turn anything into a barrier to entry. But the Lord is very different. And two incidents at the Jordan River will show just how different He is. Yesterday we considered how God has made a way through the Jordan River for His people to pass into His good land. In a Red Sea-like miracle, the new Israel passed over with Joshua, whose name means Jesus, with Joshua at their head. And this event proclaimed the way that sinners can enter into God's rest. Through His initiative, through God's initiative, and through a Passover-like salvation, with Jesus at our head, we can get into God's rest. None of us deserve to enter into the promises of God, but in God's grace and mercy, sinners like you and me, we can freely cross from the wilderness into rest, from death to life. When God is in charge of crossing over the Jordan, how do you do it? It's by grace alone. In today's story, though, we see something very different and something very disturbing. We again see sinners attempting to cross the Jordan River. But when this crossing is patrolled by humans, there is a very different policy of border control. It all comes about in the book of Judges. That's the book that follows Joshua. By now, the people have entered into the land and they've more or less settled down. After Joshua dies, Israel is ruled by judges, and the book of Judges tells us of 13 of them. One of them is called Jephthah. He is from Gilead. In Judges chapter 12, men from the tribe of Ephraim pick a fight with Jephthah, the judge, and pick a fight with his tribe, the Gileadites. That was not smart. That was not a good move. The men of Gilead fight back ruthlessly against the Ephraimites, and they put many to the sword. Crucially, they also control the escape routes back across the Jordan. And the Ephraimites want to flee back across the Jordan. And as they want to cross the Jordan back to safety, they try to pass themselves off as locals. But the men of Gilead had a cunning test. I'm going to read from Judges chapter 12, verses 5 and 6. Judges 12, verses 5 and 6. The Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan leading to Ephraim, and whenever a survivor of Ephraim said, "Let me cross over," the men of Gilead asked him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he replied no, they said, "All right, say Shibboleth." And if he said Sibboleth, because he could not pronounce the word correctly, they seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan. 42,000 Ephraimites were killed at that time. Such a simple test and such dire consequences, such immense bloodshed. The river would have flown red with the blood of Ephraimites. And you can't help but feel for the Ephraimites, can you? Put to the sword because of their accent. They couldn't say shh, even if their life depended on it. It cost them everything. What a very different policy for border crossing. But when it's humans who take charge of the entrance requirements, things invariably operate according to the flesh. That is to say, we will always look for human abilities and identities to qualify or justify ourselves. The in crowd will be distinguished from the outsiders by something in them, even if it's something as small as an accent. We always distinguish according to nationality, race, tribe, gender, achievements, money, looks, status, brains, brawn, something. This being the case, the entrance requirements have to be discriminatory if humans are in charge of it. But thank God that Christ's kingdom is different. Safe passage into Christ's kingdom is not granted on the basis of anything in us. We pass over on the basis of Jesus, our forerunner, not because of any trait of our own. Therefore, Christ's kingdom looks very different from the kingdoms of this world. The church is, I hope you know, it is the most international, multi-ethnic, inclusive social phenomenon the world has ever seen. And you think, how is that possible? Well, it's because Humans do not, or at least should not, patrol the borders of this kingdom. We are in by grace and not by the works of the flesh. And therefore the church is the most diverse body the world has ever known. The book of Revelation shows us the future of this kingdom. There are multitudes in heaven. They are saved by Jesus the Lamb and brought through to this promised rest. So Revelation chapter 7 verses 9 to 10 speaks of this multi-ethnic body. After this, John says, I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that nobody could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands, and they cried out in a loud voice, salvation belongs to our gods, not to humans who are trying to secure their own little kingdoms for themselves and make sure other people pay the price to enter in. No, salvation belongs to God, which is why he can offer it freely to all people, no matter their nation, tribe, or tongue, no matter whether they can say Shibboleth or Sibboleth, no matter their accent, no matter their achievements, no matter what. Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb. Because salvation belongs to God, because it does not belong to us, the gates are flung wide open. And in Jesus, nothing can prevent us from entering into this kingdom. Here in Jesus, we have entrance into God's rest. Or to put it another way, Jesus is the end of all shibboleths.